Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hi, Cam.
Happy Wednesday, Sunny. How are you?
I'm doing good today. How are you? Are things crazy today or what?
It's not too bad out there.
Okay.
A lot of changes have been going on, but I did want to bring up something that we found just so people can kind of understand how this works and what they might be seeing now in their skies.
Okay.
So people are currently reporting chemtrails that disappear fairly quickly. And it's almost a little bit confusing about whether they're chemtrails or contrails.
Right.
Contrails are condensation that comes from an aircraft, and they dissipate usually within, maybe 5 to 10 minutes after the plane disappears. These are very similar, what we're seeing. Now, they're not your atypical chemtrail that we've seen in the past, meaning they're not alien technology that they're trying to spray on us to turn us all into cyborgs, which is a positive. But the chemtrail manufacturing centers of the world are coming from Northrop Grumman. They were prompted by the secret space program folks that are left and the Space Force here in the U.S. To create some kind of a nanoparticle similar to what they had in the past, but something they could connect to their antiquated remaining computer systems worldwide in order to control the weather. Now, we know that HARP was so powerful because it was tied to alien technology. Granted, the secret space program operatives, the 15 militaries, did have some access or limited access to the alien technology that was provided to them in order to sufficiently actually run a weather manipulation program. Now, Northrop Grumman, on the other hand, has no access to any of this technology and therefore has been prompted to try to recreate the same thing for control. Now, Northrop Grumman's claim to fame and the organization's ability to create technologies that are not considered a positive for humanity go back a long way since the invention and creation of the organization. The founding parties behind the scenes of Northrop Grumman are actually Project Paperclip Thule Society members that formed the organization. And they had a very you could say, I'm not going to say that they would be the boss of them, but I would say they do whatever they're told to do in exchange for these advanced technologies that they no longer have. So the secret space program and places like Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and all of your least favorite corporations in the world are all tied together in the same programs. The same thing goes for pharmaceutical industries and other things that we all dislike, let's just say, for what they're doing to us. DARPA is also involved to some lesser degree, and then you've got all your front corps. Northrop Grumman seems to me, other than obviously Elon Musk's X corporations or SpaceX or X Twitter, X this, X that, seems to be the recipient of a lot more than we probably thought of in the past. The problem is now is they're trying to replicate these things with little to no success. And they're working together on this new chemtrail program with the NOAA. So it's the Atmospheric Association for Research. To try to achieve this. So that's what we're seeing now as far as things being sprayed in the skies. Are they harmful to humans? I would say extremely sensitive, those with an autoimmune disorder. They're not meant to be harmful any more harmful to you than I would say, too much exhaust, driving in traffic, people that are super sensitive to that type of thing will have an issue with them, but they're not nearly as potent or detrimental to the human body as the old ones were.
And are they spraying this everywhere, Kim, or are certain areas more concentrated?
Um, I've seen it a lot over the United States. I've seen it a lot more over areas that are, because this isn't a person focused thing. Before it was focused on the high concentration of people.
Right.
So the higher the population, the more chemtrails you would see in your skies. I see it more going on in farming areas, is what I'm seeing. So it's not targeted at the farms or the food itself. I think it's more targeted at creating a drought. Can we create a drought in this particular area? A lot of the time what we're seeing is the opposite actually happening. It causes a lot of rain. So it's kind of funny in a way. Northrop Grumman also has created some nano and femtotech that can actually interfere with human brain function as well. But those things cannot be utilized at this moment in time for spraying or putting in the food or that type of thing. It's a very strange administration process to interfere with human brain function. It's very similar to what Elon Musk is putting out there.
Like the Neuralink.
And I wouldn't doubt for a moment if they're not involved in some way, shape, or form together.
Right.
So at this moment, the good news is that these particular front corporations, as I call them, are struggling to find the things that they used to have and used to have access to. The predominant reason why they're trying to recreate these things with human technologies is because the secret space program folks have told them to do so, to see how far they get. There are some within the groups that are aware that it's weak as milk toast and that it's not going anywhere. So that being said, there was a lot of meetings that happened over the last couple of days because of their lack of success and lack of finding any resources with which to continue. As members of this group, you would have some secret space program remaining operatives. You would have global headquarters folks. You would have some very high up generals, Langley 5. And this is kind of a worldwide thing. This is not just an American thing. And in their meetings, there are some of them that have come to the realization if they're going to continue to survive and make money, they're going to have to do it our way. That we are not going to fund the things that perhaps happened in the past. One of the things that was brought up to me in the last 48 hours is that why did I give the Trump organization all of that money? Now, they're mistaken because what I gave was money for the United States to function in proper ways, and what I wanted to happen did not happen.
Yeah.
So it was for paying off student loans. It was paying off United States debt. It wasn't, and there was, make no mistake that, these people made the comment because I think they were trying to figure out if there was a way to manipulate me. Like if I did it with Trump, why wouldn't I do it with them or the next person or Trump again? Is that a possibility? The answer to the question, let me help you out here, is no. No again, and no some more. I tried to do the right thing by people with what I had access to at the time, which was through governments. I was always able to get down to density 3 at that time, and that was pretty much all I could do. And, relief for Hurricane Michael. I talked to them about what the problem that they were going to have with mudslides on the West Coast when all those fires happened. We talked about the fires. We talked about a lot of things that were going to help people. Unfortunately, that never happened. And it will never happen again. So that was my mistake. But also remember too, we were still under contract until 2022 with governments because of the 10-year extension. So now all of that's expired. I don't have any obligations here to do anything with
Right.
anybody of this nature anymore. Now, in the meetings, there are some that still are adamant that they can find something in some way not to talk to me ever. And so those people were given a little more time by their colleagues, by their respective same group of people. And my understanding is, now I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen, but they gave them until 3 o'clock today to see if they could make any kind of progress. That's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. If there's no progress, then they have told them, then their flags are going down at 3 o'clock.
What's the ratio, Kim, of people that are willing to move forward or at least seem more willing to talk restoration versus the people that think that there's something that they're going to get by 3 p.m. today?
I would say it's probably 25% for, and the rest are against, is what it looks like. The predominant reluctancy is coming from the SSP folks.
That think that they know everything because they've been around.
And some of the silent circle people. Yeah, because they know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And but the real question is how much power does the 25% have over the rest of them?
It's true.
How much backing do they? Yeah, how much backing do they actually give them? So we'll see what happens at 3 o'clock Eastern. I just watch. I mean, I don't have a feeling on it one way or another.
Yeah.
I am not hopeful one way or another. If it happens, great. It doesn't make any difference, honestly, with what we are doing right now, as far as cleaning up, fixing things, pushing transactions through and seeing what blocks us. What these people do absolutely makes zero difference in our lives. To any consequence that would have anything to do with this, other than the fact they can get on TV and talk some stuff, right?
Yeah, keep up that charade.
That could be negatively affect us both in the alternative media and in the media. So there are some things that could possibly happen that could make waves for people if they believe it. So we'll see, like everybody else. I do think that the influence for these conversations and some of the common sense interjection is coming from the cartels participating in these meetings. Look, there has to come a time where you just say, this is not working. You have tried to fix your own car for the last 6 months. It is time, and in their case, 16 years. You have tried to fix your own car for a very long time now. It's time to say, take it to the mechanic.
Yeah.
We have to try get a new car. We have to do something else because we don't have a car at this moment. It's been 6 months. That's basically the course of the conversation. We are going around and around and around in circles. We keep waiting for all these days. Nothing ever happens, and if it happens at some point in the future, great. We'll be here to receive it. But at this moment in time, we got nothing.
So do you think the cartels, have they kind of grouped together then with the silent circle, anti-silent circle, secret space?
I wouldn't call them grouped together at this point. There is a lot of they were together in the past. Then again, agencies work together with all the cartels. I mean, everybody worked together with everybody. It's one giant group.
Yeah.
I would say that their forced control, maybe it's out of former relationships, but it seems to me like their forced control has turned into more of a, come on, people, get it freaking together. Like, this isn't going to happen. We're running out of money. Maybe there's something else we can do here. It seems to be a little lighter than it was in the beginning.
Yeah, because it really felt like the cartels, had, I don't know if they had the upper hand, but they, that they really brought something to the table as their own group. And it feels like that just kind of dissipated. And it's like, they're working more together. I don't know, but that's just my perspective.
I wouldn't call it working together. I would call it, like if you're having a corporate board meeting is what it looks like to me. And a lot of the board sees the company going bankrupt, seeing board members assassinated, seeing, look, guys, what we know where it's coming from. How do we fix it? If our corporation is going to survive, we need to go to, get an influx of cash. And right now there's only one place to do that. Can we change it? There's a lot of talk amongst operatives that are still participating with them out of obligation or because they're getting small amounts of partial payments here and there or something like that. And the big talk amongst them is that there's a lot of loss of life right now. And, they're like, look, there are going to be none of us left to play the game. We got to make some decisions here. We did receive some communications from some of them about, are we ready to start contracting with them? What they've always told me is they will not do that until we can successfully transfer money without resistance from anyone else. So, with lack of help from anyone or treasuries or any departments, the answer to the question is, well, you'll have to wait for us. Take as long as it takes to get it done. As far as they're concerned, that's your answer. That could be this afternoon for all I know. I don't know. I mean, we keep trying, pushing, trying, cleaning, pushing, trying, cleaning. It's all alien tech. It's not technology from here at all anymore. It's not humans. It's not the NSA. It's not, SSP. It's, occasionally they'll jump in with some alien tech they found somewhere. And all it really does is block us. It doesn't give them any one-up. It doesn't give them any money. It doesn't give them any ability to get money, that kind of thing. So there's that. Okay. We'll, of course, inform you on Friday of what's going on. Now, just briefly, and I know this sounds, my studio here is in my basement, and currently that is flooded. I have a water heater problem. So, yeah, it's been a couple of plumbing issues after plumbing issues down there. So I don't have a way to really get on and see you guys. So I will as soon as I can. Word on the street is the plumber's actually going to be able to fix it by tomorrow. So we'll see. Maybe I'll see you Friday. I'm hoping to. But this is why you haven't seen me for about a week or two. I mean, we've been bailing out buckets down there. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a real deal, guys. There you go. Our fancy
So I just thought I'd tell you that I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm not avoiding being on camera for any reason, But that's the truth down there. So okay. Next, I wanted to touch a little bit on care, and there's a lot of people that are trying to move forward with care, and there's a lot of misunderstandings in some ways of what care is going to do. So I thought I'd give you a little bit more information. And this is for you. This is for them. We have some new people that may or may not make other decisions this afternoon. So we'll see. But the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth, as it is called, is a compilation of humans. That's what it is. Now, there are a lot of humans, for example, that have been farming land for 3 generations. They have done this on a commercial scale, and they would be in part of food security. They're ranchers, they're, farmers. They know the problems. They know the industry. They know how, what their current issues are, insurance, everything. So they would be a part of a food security or agricultural division. Okay. Now, as part of that same division, you would also have a group of research scientists. because they are going to listen to the farmers, and they are going to try to develop different ways of fertilizing, different way of pest control, different ways of revitalizing soils. They're going to come up with the solutions to the problems that those farmers have faced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next, in addition to those people on these committees, you are also going to have people that have been involved in transportation services, because this is also an important part.
Mm-hmm.
And they are going to discuss, with all of the above, the issues that they have faced in transporting food in a timely manner. What is the distance? Why do we have to travel that distance? That makes no sense. Why are we transporting food to one location and then transporting it, 5 miles down the road from the farm which it originated from? It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
What are the issues and the problems, and how can we solve this issue? So this is just one committee we're talking about. We're just talking about food right now. Next, how do we get the food to the people? That's also in part a transportation issue, but it's also maybe a retail issue. So we need people on this committee that have been involved for years in the retail industry that will tell us all the problems that store owners, current grocery stores or convenience stores owners face,
Mm-hmm.
and how we can solve these issues. Do we still need to have big conglomerate stores? Do smaller stores better? Is it better to buy in bulk? What are the differences if we're getting it straight from the farmers? What can we move? Can we add additional farms in other areas, closer to cities? Is that a possibility? Is that bad because, we have a pollution issue? In addition to that, we are also going to have manufacturers of farming equipment. What are the problems that farmers are facing? We want to talk to those people. We want to talk to the research and development people and find out what are the problems that they are facing with tractors and tillers, and is there a better way? What would they like to see happen? And then they'll have a conversation with the people in the research and development area that are prevalent in this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in addition to all of these people, we will have some people you call industrialists. An industrialist job, now these are people that have been in industry. I'm not saying they're Bill Gates or anything like that, but they've been in industries for a long time. They might be in construction for a long time. They might be in manufacturing tractors. They could be in any part of any one of these industries, but these people know how to make business work. Mm-hmm. In other words, they've run multi-million-dollar corporations before. They see the pitfalls in developing a business that doesn't have key factors. They will help with the financial aspect of what is making farms successful and what is making them fail. What is making stores successful? What is making them fail? What is making the research and development products? I mean, to give you an example, and I've given you this example before, I have had scientists say, let's just say, we're trying to create new door stoppers, and they will say the best material for a door stopper is gold. Well, how much gold can we source? And is that the only material we could possibly use, even though it's probably the best, according to the scientists? It's very expensive right now. Can we transport it? It's quite heavy. And then how do we sell it to people and say, look, in order to stop your door, you're going to pay $2,317. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. But from a scientist standpoint, it makes perfect sense because it's the right, weight, it's sturdy enough, but still soft enough not to damage the door, whatever they're thinking in their head. Yeah. So we have to take all the things that come out of research and development, and we have to say, okay, they're recommending we put this mineral in the soil because then it will revitalize the soil, or this combination of minerals. Mm-hmm. And then the industrialists come in and say, okay, where can we source mineral X? I shouldn't use the word X. Mineral A. Where can we source mineral B? Can I source enough of it for X amount of hectares or acres. Can I do that? I'm not sure. Maybe we can go back to the scientist and say, look, I know mineral A is the best, but is there another way we can get it? Can we manufacture it in a laboratory? Will it have the same effect on the soil? That's what industrialists actually do. They're the ones that will source the raw materials, make sure it's feasible, viable, check on customs fees, check out to see if we can actually source to increase the amount of cattle until we can figure out another way for humans not to eat, that kind of thing, and still get the same benefits. So there are short-term solutions that are required right now. There is a huge problem. This is a problem. Now, we need these types of people to be on committees. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's probably something or other I'm leaving out, but you kind of get the gist of it. We're probably, need some botanists on there, hybrid plants. How can we grow them better? Like, there's all kinds of research and development involved in this. But there are a lot of people that are making comments like, we have developed something, say a computer program that will be great for a sovereign bank and all the money will go through our financial system. Well, the answer to the question is probably no, because that's a nice thought, but we're trying to get away from people, like one funnel. Yeah. Number one, you open yourself up for attack. Sorry, but you do. Because if you are one funnel funneling through trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, you are now a target, a huge, huge target. So the answer to the question is absolutely no. The only way to fix that is to break it up into millions of different pieces. And because they can't target, there's not enough of them left to target all of those. Number two, even if we're not targeting deep state problems anymore, let's say we don't have any more deep state. Wow, what a wonderful world. You're still going to have crazy people.
Yeah.
You're going to have crazy people that are upset that their so-and-so, didn't get the correct treatment under life assurance or something. And now they want to shoot you. You didn't send out the payment on time. Therefore, the doctor didn't provide service. And now my, spouse has passed away or something. There's going to be people that will just blame you for everything. Mm-hmm. And now you're a singular target. You open yourself up for legal liability, and the absolute answer to the question is no, no, no. And the person listening to this will know exactly who I'm talking about. Absolutely not. So committees might be of multiple sizes. Mm-hmm. As far as financial, we sat down into this financial system as it is right now, with the poker hand already been dealt and halfway played. We have huge financial problems worldwide right now. We have derivative issues. We have CDOs, CDLs, CDSs. Person wanting to run bank in said financial system has never even been in the financial industry at all. So we are going to need people that have experience in this. Yeah. We also need to have discussions with people who have been economic assassins in the past. Sorry, but we do. Because these people will know how they're going to destroy you. Therefore, they can help you not be destroyed. They were involved, a lot of them, in destroying the financial system of the planet, the advent of the stock markets worldwide, and the continuation of backdoors and propping them up and plunge protection committees and all of these things that exist. So these people are going to have the same. We have to, unfortunately, unwind the system as it is. This goes back to the thing I always say. If you are driving in a car and you are going 140 miles per hour on the freeway, God bless you. That is so much fun, isn't it? But if I slam the brakes on at 140 miles an hour, I am going through the windshield. Yeah. The other thing is, if I hit a pebble in the road, that could actually knock me right off my path, because at that speed, anything that goes wrong could kill you, really. Right? Once you start getting 140, 180 miles an hour, it could kill you. So we need to slow this car down, recognizing the fact that we didn't get there overnight. Maybe you got 0 to 60 in some fast sports car or something like that. But we did not get here overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It took, hundreds of years. I mean, the actual paper money system started in the late 1500s. I'll leave it at that because I don't remember if it was 1576. But that's a lot of centuries, we've been playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
So realize it's just getting more and more complicated over time. People hate MERS, the mortgage system. Well, that's right. They issue derivatives off your mortgage, sell it out in many pieces, and diversify the risk. How do they diversify that risk? Why do they diversify that risk? And how do we fix it? Firstly, we have to come up with something that's better for consumers, that will actually make legal sense. Now, this is applicable to the complete restoration of a financial system on Earth. So I'm going to tell you a story. A group of people from a particular country that nobody is happy with at this moment, so you'll know where that is, in the Middle East. But this group of people decided to go to an African country and build what we would know as in America as tract homes. Mm-hmm. So, there's copper wiring, piping, the whole thing. And they decided to come in and do it their way without any regard of what the local people have, the way they've been living, nor having them participate financially or otherwise in the building of these homes. They did not consult them with the layout, the roads, where the farms were, nothing whatsoever. And what good is a beautiful, nice home? And maybe they put in power, maybe they put in, sewage lines and water lines and that kind of thing, possibly. And that's lovely. But these people can't even afford to pay attention. How are they going to afford to keep your power on? How are they going to afford to keep the water running? They can't. The answer to the question is they cannot. They cannot pay your ridiculous prices for the power plant that you put in the sewage plant, and the water treatment plant, because you people don't live in reality. That's the problem when you have foreigners coming into your region trying to build something. And so about 6 months later, these people returned to see how well, obviously nobody was paying electric bills and stuff to them and water bills to them. And so they went back to go do an inspection. Well, they started making fires in the toilets and bringing them outside. They took all the copper wire and sold it on the black market. So there was no possibility of electricity anymore, but they could eat food. Another example of a problem with our financial system. Okay. And this is actually directly related to humans and human behavior currently. Another group of people from a different country, let's call it America, decided to go to a country in, you could say, the East. It's not an Asian country. Well, it is, but I consider it right there on the border. It's fairly close. And they decide to come in with this wonderful technology, probably provided by one of these corporates, at the time, where they wanted to put in a levitating, magnetic, electrically running train. Now, coincidentally, China's also trying to do the same thing in the same country. Matter of fact, they'd like to put in a train for their Silk Road project, One Road, One Belt, project. And the funny part about it, I do know people in this particular country, and they cannot, I'd be on a Skype call with these people or a Zoom call with these people, and the power goes out constantly in a major capital city. I'm not even talking about the area where they wanted to put said train, in a major capital city. And rolling brownouts are constant in this particular area. There is not enough electric power in the country. There is not clean water in a lot of areas, where they wanted to put this train. There is nothing out there, no infrastructure for this whatsoever. So to the people that live there, who can, the majority of them in this particular area probably can barely afford to sell their fruits and vegetables in the market. They definitely are not using credit cards, I can tell you that right now, or debit cards, because they can't not afford it. And number one, you never know if you're going to go to the market and it's not going to work. With 20% fees going to banks and various other organizations. See, part of your financial system as well. Big problems. Currency conversion rates. How long does it take for the merchants to get paid in other countries? Maybe you get it in 5 to 7 days in the US, but in other countries, it could take you 2-3 weeks, a month to get paid. These people can't afford that. And number two, there's no way they're going to afford €196 to ride your train. You're ridiculous right now. These are the problems when you don't include people like industrialists, people from each particular region to identify those issues, firstly. And you have to talk to the merchants. You have to talk to the people in the area. Then you have to deal with the issues of the power companies, the current power companies. And then you have to implement something else, into the system that actually functions, and things, like the neutrino boxes, we can drop anywhere and create power. Is there enough of them? How do we get them there? Do we have enough rare earth minerals to make them in that capacity for that? Or are they better served someplace else first, like the main capital city of this country I'm talking about? See? And all of this is directly related to the financial industry. You have customs and borders control. You have all kinds of things that need to be involved in revitalizing a financial system that people can live in. Live, not survive, not live in lack, that can thrive in on a short-term and a long-term basis. Because everything I just told you about affects you personally. Now, my story about the homes has to do with human behavior. Would it have been different if the people that came in there from this wealthy country take into account that these people can't pay you for water? There's no job creation in this particular area that is going to allow them a salary that is going to then pay you. Part of this is financial, but part of this is a housing issue, which is a whole nother thing. Next, so you didn't give them any reason why, these people can't even eat right now. So of course they're going to pull the copper wires and sell it on the black market out of their house because they don't have any power anyway. Without proper industrialists that are familiar and people familiar with demographics, that's another one. You're going to relocate a bunch of people from an area that floods all the time, and you're going to put them in another area of the country that doesn't flood all the time, let's just say, until you can create a water diversion project that works. There are areas of the world that flood every year like clockwork. Considerations for local engineers and consultants, on said board is important. But I don't need just any regular person to be on this board. I need engineers. I need people that have been designing homes in that particular region with that particular soil for a long time. They understand the area, they understand the people, they understand the demographics, and they understand what the people need and how to actually build it. To work in conjunction with industrialists and other people that will then bring the retail centers we just talked about in the farming and food industry and transportation to this particular location, and how many toothbrushes based on how many people, how many clinics you need, all of these things come into account. And I know this all might sound confusing to you, but what I'm seeing in groups that are being formed is absolutely zero consideration for anything I just said. I'm seeing a bunch of good-hearted people who have an intention of doing good in this world.
Yeah.
And I'm also seeing, in some cases, the oppressed want to become the oppressor without taking into consideration who should be involved. Peace Corps is another one. They go into these particular areas and they're just kids out of college that might have specialized in human resources. They might have specialized in food, agriculture, whatever. It doesn't matter. And then they go to these places thinking they're doing something really good, or they go on missions for their particular church and they think they're doing something really good, but they introduce things that aren't native in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're causing a supply chain problem because you don't take into consideration once you leave and the people can no longer get that resource. Now what is going to happen to them? They become dependent on that resource. Therefore, maybe they stopped growing rice in that area, or they stopped trying to, instead of trying to fix the rice paddies, you decided to introduce rice from another area, and now they can't get it. Now everybody's starving, and that's the end of that. It's not that the people are bad that are trying to do these things, and the kids that get out of college and go into the Peace Corps or missions for their churches in this area and they dig a well or, whatever that is, that's lovely. But without proper consultation with people that have been doing this for a very long period of time, you're not going to get very far. You're going to end up destroying areas of the world rather than helping people, even though your heart is in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
So do I talk to farmers on a daily basis? Well, I would say I probably talk to 10 to 15 of them at least once a week. And they're from different countries all over the world. They have told me about a lot of problems, that are going on. Have I ever been a commercial farmer? Of course, they came at me at first, like I've never seen a farm in my life. But once we started talking about ways, crop insurance, how expensive it is, government subsidies that never come or kind of sort of come, all of the issues that they're experiencing that are making them, obviously there's Mother Nature. Hopefully it's just Mother Nature in the future that causes a drought or something. But what do they do in that case? How do they feed their family until the next season? All of these things that, I've listened to them, with my ears, my heart, my mind, and my soul to try to figure out a way to fix it, not only for them, because I consider them a critical part of humanity, to the point where if we don't address their concerns and needs, we're not going to have farmers anymore because it's not productive. They're going out of business. They can't afford to be there. They're promised subsidies or drought, payments from the government that never come. Right now, everything is so haphazard and all over the place. Systems that they put in place in 1975 are, and I say that year for a reason, are not working. They're breaking down. They were not meant to work for prolonged periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, I'm not trying to discourage people because there's a place for everyone in what we're doing here. I do not want to control it. I want to be at the bottom of this organization, not the top, meaning the right people in the right places with the right hearts, and just basically making sure that everybody has everybody's best intentions at heart. Can everybody make a lot of money doing this? Absolutely, they can. But we need to start somewhere. Right now, we have no organization whatsoever. I mean, long before we ever even decided to create CARE, our only bit of organization has been a tyranny. And we just did what we were supposed to do in order to survive. Now we have to figure out what we're going to do in order to live. We have helpful things along the way, life assurance, pet assurance, things like that. Those infrastructures are already written, and they're hundreds and hundreds of pages long. It's not like a one day, we just decided to do this and then it just miraculously comes out of the air. We figured out how it was going to affect every single, from people that provide medical technologies to the people that make the needles, to the people that make, how is this going to affect it? And there's going to be an influx, and how could we handle that increased production? Because more people are going to go to the dentist than ever before, whether they choose a holistic dentist or otherwise, because that's one thing that people will neglect, because the insurance is terrible and they can't afford hundreds of thousands of dollars, as an example, to go to the dentist. But if you can go to the dentist and they get paid up front, but they're happy, you're going to have more dentists out there too.
Yeah.
So, we're going to need a lot more dentists. We're going to need a lot more, specialists. And then we're going to need to train all those specialists in a way that actually makes holistic and homeostasis health sense.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be, like I said, I'm not trying to scare anybody off. I value people's opinions. I value what it is they think they want to do. But when I put it into that perspective of how well thought out this is on our end of it, that's just addressing 2 of the 250,000 different, what I call industries out there. This is not like I just woke up and said, oh, I'm going to make a care, and I just expect it to miraculously appear. These are things that we have sat down and put together, like down to a detail of how many toothbrushes are required in a specific area. If I relocate those people from here to over there, what is the best material for a toothbrush in this area? Do I have any way to dispose of plastic waste or batteries if you're going to use that kind of toothbrush? And how do I do that? It's important to understand all the details, is all I'm saying. And I'm not seeing that come from anyone, let alone people that decide that they wanted to control and quote, and I quote, which I heard this, we have to manifest a way for all the money of care to come through us, end quote.
To go through that group, whoever that group is.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's a positive thing for humanity in the long run. It's a lot of work for all humans.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work, for example, just in this one little industry that we talked about, farming, and a little bit about finance, but, because the 2 and 2 will go together at some point. But for farming, think about all the work. I'm grateful and thankful for the farmers that I do talk to that are willing to kind of step forward and identify industry issues and present possible solutions. But they'll be presenting possible solutions to people that can create a new way of tilling soil. Or go ahead.
I was just going to say, yesterday I interviewed a farmer, a cattleman, actually. He does a bunch of different things for the New Earth. And we're going to be releasing some segments with him. But he and his farm focuses on regenerative farming. And he was talking about all the things that they have done. And his grandfather started the farm a long time ago, which is in Georgia in the U.S. And he was talking about how, people came in and they kind of industrialized things, and then they started noticing all these problems with the soil. And so when he took over the farm, he totally transformed it. It's taken many decades. And one of the questions that I asked him was about, well, why isn't this picking up more? And he's like, it's a lot of work. And he's like, the turnaround, or the profit isn't as much. There's all of these little things. And he's still doing it because it's important to him and it's important to his family. It's important to his town. It totally changed his town for the better. Mm-hmm. But he was telling me about some of these issues. And you're right, there's a lot to think about. And you really need the people, boots on the ground, so to speak, that have been there, done that. He's a great example of that. And some of the issues that they face in making something like that happen. So I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I would not be the one to sit there at the table and revitalize the entire farming industry. I have a small garden in my backyard that I'm ecstatic over like when something grows, so I'm not that person, but I'm an excellent listener. For example, one of the things that we were discussing was the fact that, during drought time, they're not getting their drought payments. Crop insurance really doesn't pay enough to revitalize for the next year, that kind of thing. And how do we get away from this on a commercialized basis? I said, well, what if we were to do, for example, 10-year forward production contracts, and we agree you're going to produce X amount per year of grain, just like grain, whatever it is. And then we were to pay for that first year's production up front. Mm-hmm. Now, that would make a world of difference in a farmer's world. Now, on top of that, let's just say you don't produce a amount of grain that year, you're a little shy. So that production then rolls over to the next year. Let's say there was a total drought, a total wipeout of the majority of your crops that next year. Well, then it just rolls over to the next year.
Right.
So you are required to produce this for sure, but you still receive that year's payment. Mm-hmm. You see?
Yeah.
So it works within the financial industry to do something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's ways that we can do that in a lot of cases for production of new things. Right. But see, the problem I have with people that just want to come in and throw rainbows and sunshine everywhere, the African country that I'm speaking of, with the houses and the copper wire is a perfect example of why you need to get the local community involved. Yeah. If you are going to build houses in a region, you need those people to build the houses with you. You need to create the jobs and pay them decent enough so that they can then afford to live in the house. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're going to have toilets that make good fires outside. That's really the, and I tell you these things just because I understand people have certain opinions of me. And one of the other comments in this same thing that I watched was that I feel like we are, if you've ever seen this, it's an American movie called The Bad News Bears. Do you remember The Bad News Bears as a kid, Sonny?
Yeah, baseball.
They said they feel like they are the bad news bears, quote unquote, and that I am the drunken coach.
How so?
Yeah. The answer to the question is, yeah, not. I maybe when I'm on the news, I don't share everything with everybody all of the time. And sometimes I just can't.
Yeah.
You never give your enemy enough information to tell them where you're going and where you're going to be. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen. So sometimes, I hold back some information, and sometimes I explain things in such a way to you that most everybody will understand it. And even then, some of it's kind of hard to understand. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I don't bother saying anything about what a Leviathan is and what a zero density is and mirrored into the fifth causal plane and how that affects Earth and all of these types of things, because why? I tell you as much as I can, especially as it relates to things that may make you, especially if you're sensitive, feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're not crazy. You're not going to die. You're not dying of some crazy ailment that you know nothing about. But it's a fact. It does happen. Morgellons, all of these types of things are parasites. Like people think they're going nuts because they feel it. They're so sensitive, or they feel like they're having anxiety attacks for no reason, when in reality, it's just an energetic change. Those are things that I share with all of you, but don't think for 1 second that I don't hear a lot of things and see a lot of things and do a lot of things that I don't share and express, because it's not safe to do so at this moment in time.
Yeah.
But I caution people in thinking that, you're not the bad news bears, first of all. You're just a group of people. You feel disorganized because you're trying to control industries you know nothing about.
Mhm.
It's uncomfortable for you. So I would suggest that you find, 50 farmers, 100 farmers, find them in every single country, find 200 farmers, 400 farmers, different regions of different countries, and start talking to all these people if you're going to talk about an agricultural industry.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you have no business in even writing it on a piece of paper that it's part of your organization. So with that, I'm going to drop my mic as I had an extremely low flying helicopter come in, the second one today. So I'll have to go find out who that is. Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a lot of talk about what may happen at 3:00, today. So the first group of people that came in here were for what they call scouting. So when a VIP comes into a particular area, they come 2 weeks ahead of time, 10 days to 2 weeks ahead of time. In this particular case, I don't think it'll be that long. I think they'll be coming sooner than that.
So who would be a VIP, like the SSP people, Langley?
Generals that don't know the name of, so it's no point in mentioning. It could be, for a president, if the president is going to go to a location, let's just say they're going to go, the president of the United States is going to go visit the president of Moscow.
Yeah.
You are talking about 2 to 3 weeks prep time. Pre-negotiations of deals, all that kind of stuff happens. Do I see that happening here? I don't, who knows? These people are, the people that I know of that are talking about making a change within the Pentagon and within agencies, that kind of thing. They consider themselves very VIP.
They do.
And, is it a show? I mean, this place obviously is pretty secure, locked down, locals take care of everything, Do you feel the need to do that? Okay, fine,
Like a lot of pomp and circumstance. Like, just go and meet.
Well,
it's about appearances still.
My prep is I just need to make sure I have my keys. I
maybe take a shower.
Might throw on a hat and some gym clothes and head out to the grocery store or something,
Yeah.
That's my prep.
Well, they've got that whole ego thing, and ego gets in the way a lot when it comes to this stuff. So,
yes, well, yes, they do.
So 3:00, which as of this recording is just in a little bit. Well, Eastern time. Yeah, because I'm 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, probably in about 35 minutes from now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, 1:00 to 3. Mm-hmm.
All right.
So we'll see. I don't think there are some that are just feverishly hacking like crazy right now, just trying to get anywhere to show some kind of progress on their front. But they're making anti-progress actually.
Mm.
Yep. So God bless them.
They're consistent.
Well, and
maybe
for us,
we're
more concerned right now with, setting things up at the same time. We are, energy goes where attention flows, and we are flowing our attention towards building an infrastructure of farmers and industrialists and people that have been in the financial industry that know how bad it is and how corrupt it is and where all the nepotism is and where all the bodies are buried and, and how to fix it. We are talking about, people that may have been in the political sector and how we're going to fix it. So what? Governments go down. What do you think? Everybody's going to disappear?
Yeah.
May not happen that quickly,
Mm-hmm.
So a lot to consider and a lot to do and a lot of work. And like you said, your farmer is just one example of saying, hey, we're willing to cut profits to make a difference.
Yeah.
But is everybody?
Mm-hmm.
And can everybody?
Right.
So that is the World Situation Report for, what is this, Wednesday?
Okay.
Hopefully I'll have my situation in the studio. I won't be floating and rowing a boat
I was
on
gonna
camera
say, get a
maybe
boat.
next time.
Row, row, row your boat. Okay, thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Sunny.
Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and